People often fight over who is the real God, and they have their names saying this is the real God and this is not the real God. This religion is God is the real one, and this religion's God is not the real one. But actually, the truth is that we need to find out what is God. That should be the question more than who is God. Because though we have an answer for this question, who is God, we have multiple answers like this is Jesus, Jesus is God, or some say Allah is God. But the fact is, though they say Jesus is God, but the one who is propagating that Jesus is God, eventually talking about a similar deity in terms of character. They end up saying Jesus is God, but when they present a Jesus that is not the real character of Jesus at all, that would match to another deity. For example, they would say Jesus is God, but and Jesus is love. At the same time, Jesus is also a punishing God, a wrathful God. He will send people to hell. He will torture people in hell, and a lot of stuff like that. So eventually, they're talking about just the same God, but only thing that they have captioned it as Jesus, and it's all the same like any other deity of a tribal origin or a native origin, or what people have come up with and people's ideologies. They have just projected all these things on Jesus, just a graphical user interface that has the face of Jesus, but inside the characters, it's all demonic, it's all torturous, it's all narcissistic, and it's all like a dual split personality behind this face of Jesus. So the question should be, what is God, rather than who is God? Because only when we narrow down to what is God, we would be clear on who is God. So otherwise, we're just talking the same God or the same character, and we're just calling him in different titles and different names, and we are going nowhere with it. We would be just fighting each other. And I don't think God is much bothered about people knowing his name, but he's very much concerned about people understanding his character. God is love. God is forgiving. God is merciful. God is meek. God is lowly in heart. God is friend of sinners. God is faithful. God is passionate about mankind. God is a restorer. God is a repairer. God makes all things new. God is patient. God is long suffering. God remembers sins no more. God makes the sun shine on the good and the evil ones. God is a good shepherd who would leave behind the 99 sheep and just go for the one that is lost. This is the character of God. Well, they would say, yes, all these things applies to Jesus, but there is also another side of the coin where God is also judgmental. God, the same God who is love until until you die, would act differently when you have not accepted him, and you will find another other part of God who is a torturer, who would abuse you in hell, who would fry you in hell, and in hellfire, and torture you and punish you for all eternity. But that doesn't actually line well with the concept of God is love. Either he should be love or he is not. So when we talk about God is love, we cannot include all of the other characters, which is abusive, which is torturous, and all of these things cannot reside inside this character of God. So it is very important to understand what is God before we come to the conclusion who is God, because we would be talking about the same old torturous God, and we would call him Jesus. But we have actually inherited it from the other native religion, tribal religion, your own ideologies, from scriptures which are interpreted wrongly, translated wrongly. And so we have derived the concept of who Jesus is from a lot of pagan stories, from a lot of other religion, and also what we have learned from what was taught to us. But God is more merciful. God is more gentle. God is more forgiving. God forgives people 70 times 7, which means God forgives people for all eternity. God works through people even after death. Death doesn't handicap God from rescuing people from their own delusion and making them come to Him. And so, God, what is God is very important. Let us not fight over who is God. It really doesn't matter to God. If at all it matters to God, then God would have printed His name all over the heavens in every planet right before your eyes. It would have been on every mountain and every tree. It is not important to Him. But what is important to Him is character, his loving nature. It is depicted in the creation. You'll be able to see what God is by by looking at the nature, by looking at the trees, by looking at the beautiful mountains, by looking at the waterfall, by looking at the seashore, by looking at the beauty of the mountains, snow-capped mountains. You'll be able to understand who God is, how loving God is, by looking at His creation, at all the animals and birds and plants and varieties. You know that He is full of love. So God has presented His character evident everywhere, and you just need to open your eyes to find out who He is. Do not go and borrow your native religious ideas preached from the pulpits or preached from the temples or preached from the mosques or whatever it is. God cannot be that. And God is love for all eternity. See, God is simple. God is love. And let us stand firm and on this concept of God is love, because God is love and nothing else. God is filled with love. God is love, and He has showcased that love to this entire humanity, and He will continue to pour out His love. And so there is no other side of God. There is no this God who is beating, punishing, and killing people and massacring people. No, no, no. Do not attribute these things unto God. God is love. God is love and nothing else.